going to do the first like 10 minutes, we'll go over everything, and then you'll be able to stop recording, and then we can talk about anything else that we need to go. So normally we'll go through the rubric, but this baseline video, there is no rubric for me to give you feedback on.
Okay.
So I just watched your video. I've already given you feedback on the lesson plan itself. So today is just the video that I'm giving you feedback on.
Yes.
So, all right. So let's get started. So you did a video today that I watched about using the leaf and making, painting the leaf and then sticking it on the black paper. It was called printing of leaves. Is that what it was again?
Leaf printing, yeah.
Leaf printing. Okay. So watching the video, I had some pointers that I found. I had some compliments that I can come up with. First thing that I noticed, you only have 3 students. Is that like a normal class size? That's
only for, well, it can be awesome. It can also be a challenge because with 3 or 4 students, usually there's 4. With 3 or 4 students, they get done with things a lot quicker. And so usually planning, like we got finished with everything and went on and did our pumpkin thing that we had worked on the week before. After that lesson, I videoed it. So we have to do multiple things every single class period because there's just, I know how quickly they work and they all kind of get things done. So
I was just thinking about your lesson plan when I was going back, how I kept going, are you sure they can do this? Are you sure that this is the right amount of time? Like now it makes sense. Things have all come together for me. So I get it now.
Yeah. It's it's too bad. I ended up writing about this in my reflection this morning, but it's too bad that Mahi was not there because Mahi is from India and speaks really fluent English and can ask lots of questions and kind of get the rest of them motivated into asking questions, because you can kind of tell that their English is great, like they can understand things, but they're not conversationally at that place where they can really ask to dive more into, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
it's too bad that Mahi was out of town, but she was out of town for Diwali, which makes sense. It's a huge Indian holiday. But yeah, so normally I have 4. In my bilingual classes, I have close to 30. So I'm happy with PYP being this small.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So I really like your video, how you started with a video showing the students what they were going to be doing, because I do think with them being all ELL learners, it's really good to have a visual context so they can see the big picture instead of really breaking it down and chunking into step by step where they don't see the overall picture on what you're expecting. So starting with that video, I think was a really good thing. I think it's really good that you checked in with the class often, going, do you understand? Is this okay? Everything all right there? Because again, with ELL learners, they can lose track. They can get off topic. They can lose focus without even realizing that they've done it. So after the video, I liked how you asked for a quick student reflection on what they thought about it. And one of your little students said that she wanted to make hers like a rainbow. And so it did show that they were linking it together. They really thought that all white was kind of boring. And this is how she could put her own touch on it. So I love that because it does show that they are engaged, and now they're trying to think of ways that they can make it even better for themselves, which is really, really good. While they were sitting on the carpet, you you said that we're going to do warm and cool colors. I think it would have been a really good opportunity. I know you did it later on, but I think it would have been a good opportunity there to again review warm and cool colors. Not only would it have extended your lesson a little bit, it would have just been review, 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 review. And that's what ELL learners need. You did a great job throughout the entire class, that you continuously reviewed your classroom expectations. So, okay, well, we have to listen. You can't shout out, be quiet. Okay, what did I say again? Um, so you did have you did review a lot of that, which is really good. You introduced them to the word veins when it came to the leaf. So I think that would have been a really good time to have one single leaf and you point at the vein and rub your finger over it and walk around and have them do the same thing. That way they were really saying the word and feeling it at the same time. And I think that would have helped you later on in the class when you're talking about painting the side of the veins, because they would have brought it back to where they felt it when you were showing it while they were sitting down or while they were outside. Also another thing, when they were sitting on the ground, you use the word texture a lot, which is really good. And I'm sure you've done it in the past as well, where you talked about texture. But I think possibly having objects again for them to compare soft or smooth and rough texture, and then then bring in the other word of the vein. So feel the vein has the rough texture side of the leaf. The non-vein has a smooth texture side. That way, when you're using the words again, it's just reviewing it, and they could have different materials that they could have looked at as well.
I'm really not great like having all the parts. I have like 92% of the parts, but I don't have all the parts. And I'm really bad when I have to have like multiple things, like here's some flashcards and here's the tactile things and that's where I'm like, okay, how do I even organize all of that stuff? I don't even know where to begin. So that I totally get. I am really bad at that, and I'm trying to figure out a way to be better about it. I don't know if I should just have, maybe that's a summer activity where I put together like containers of like textural items and flashcards and things so that they're already done. And then when it comes to time, I can just open those containers and say, here's a piece of bark. Let's look at how bark is different from a piece of glass and why one feels more smooth than the other. You know what I'm saying? So that it's already there. I just have to figure out how to, because like at my current school, we don't really have anything. So it would take me collecting all these extra things. And I think that's fine to do. I just have to figure out when to even do that.
No, I think you're looking even bigger. While that's good, like when you're creating your lesson plan, if you know you want to use the word texture, what I would do is I would grab only two things. I would grab sandpaper, and I would grab silk, for example, or a piece of glass. That's all I would do. Like these other teachers would have boxes and would be really prepared. That's not me. Yeah. I'm like bare minimum type person. So I would grab something rough, something smooth, and explain texture just using those two items.
Okay.
So I would keep it even simpler than what you were trying to make it, which is a good thing to do, make it more complex. But that's just not me as a teacher. I'm very much of a simple, basic one or two things. That way we don't get cloudy with our understanding. It's either this or this. Which one does it feel more like?
Right. Right. Okay.
That's how I would do it.
Okay. Those are the kinds
of. So as I create my lesson plan. Yeah, and that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Okay.
I love little things like this. So when I look at lesson plans, I pull out vocabulary words and go, how could I make this more of a visual vocabulary word? Okay. And that's one way I would do about texture.
Okay. Okay.
So
just two things.
Good job. Yeah, that's what I would do, because you don't really want to overwhelm them or overstimulate them.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you actually started the art project, I really loved how you demoed it for the kids. You had a lot of pieces, like you had the 3 different sheets of pieces of paper there, and I got nervous at the beginning that they were going to get confused. But you really walked through it step by step. And you said, this is what you do on this sheet, and then you do it to this sheet, and then you take this sheet. So you really did show them what they needed to do. I also liked how you reminded them that the paint doesn't go all the way on the silver part of the paintbrush. they only put it on like the hair part, sorry, the bristle part, that they didn't dunk the paintbrush all the way in. I think these reminders are something that needs to keep going. And then it becomes like secondhand nature that even without you saying it, they hear you in their head because they've heard you every other time. And that's what's really, really good. What I would have done in my lesson is I would have to all do the white leaves and then went on to explain about the warm and the cool colors. So I would have let them
split
do
it up.
one thing of white first. Exactly. So I would have done kind of like you started out as a you do, where you demonstrated what to do. And then you would gradually move on to the we do, where they do the white by themselves. And then you tell them pick a warm or a cool color, but letting them tell you which side was warm, which side was cool, instead of you giving them the answers. And then after they did their background of whichever one that they wanted to do, then it's the they do the complete. Now I want you to repeat it, guys, exactly what we did, but pick the opposite background that you didn't do it last time. That way you've done the gradual release where you walk them step by step, and now you want to test kind of like a formative assessment. You want to test how much did they really understand? Could they follow the multi-step instructions at that point?
I guess the only thing that I start to worry about is when I have, like, if Mahi had been there, she is a Speedy Gonzalez, and she'll just be like, okay, I'm done. Do I really have to wait for these other people to be done before I go? Like, she'll get real antsy about it. And so that's the only thing I can think of is like, she would want to already move on.
So for her, what you could do is you could have her challenge where she's collected leaves. Okay, Mahi, everyone's allowed to use whatever leaves they want. You can only use leaves from the same type of tree. And then she would have to really examine, okay, well, what makes it the same type of tree? Did I pick enough leaves to be the same type of tree? And that would slow her down because that's now putting her on a higher level thinking, where she's able to analyze her information or her gathered data to determine if she has the right amount or not. And so that would make her slow down and then also put her on the higher level learning style.
Okay.
I think that you had continuous encouragement throughout the video, which is extremely good from ELL learners to young students to anyone. I like how you were asking their opinions at the very end, like what was your favorite part? And then I don't know if you were lying to them or if it really was your favorite part, but you picked something that no one else picked. And I think that's really good on multiple sides. It's to show that they don't have to pick what their friends pick. And it also is getting them to think that, the teacher liked something different. I wonder why she liked that. And can get them to really reflect on that too, because after you said that, one of the kids changed his answers to, well, I like going out to collect it.
Yeah.
And he didn't say what his friends said.
Yeah.
So I like that as well. And then having students to practice using the vocabulary words that you taught them, such as texture, warm and cool, and vein throughout the class is something that can really help build their vocabulary, even though the word vein is not something that they would use everyday life, but it is exposing them to these other words so when they do get to science or anything.
And how do you do that authentically so that it's not me saying, repeat after me?
I think one way that you could do it is after they did the leaf imprint, going, oh my gosh, this print looks amazing. Where is the vein? Can you show me where the vein is shown on here? Oh, look, yes, here it is there. There it is. Good job. And then to another one, oh my gosh, this leaf imprint looks really good. What is this line thing? What is that called again? Remember, it takes the water everywhere. What did we call that? Kind of things like that, where they can take it from the plant that they saw to what you pointed and then how it transferred over to the paper. And then even before you, like when you're teaching texture or whatever, you could have them practice on the smooth texture or the rough texture with the sandpaper or the piece of glass, and then say, okay, look around the room. I'm going to say a texture and you have to go try to find something and touch it with the same texture, okay? Ready, set, smooth texture. And they run around. And you're like, yes, yes. Oh, does that feel like this? No. Okay, try again. And that way, at least then getting them to run around, move, and they're starting to apply it to a real life situation as well. But overall, the kids were super engaged. They were excited. They loved what they were doing. I think the little rainbow girl got her little rainbow wish at the end where she was happy that she got her colors added into it. They said that it was really cool. So I mean, what more do you want as a teacher when they love your activity that you have and they've learned from it?